Dudes, Christian and I are filming this part of the video after the video has been completely filmed because we want to announce that merch is coming. So I've made a few prototype shirts. Christian and I are both wearing those right now. But, ooh, check out that one, dude. Yo, build it yourself, dude. So, merch, I don't have an exact date yet. I have a plan when I want to do it, but I don't want to make that public because if I miss it, I don't want people to come down on me. So I just want to say it's going to be in a few weeks to a month is when merch is going to be coming live on the website. So stay tuned for that and start this video. Dudes, welcome back to another video. Today we're working on the 92 F1 build. We're actually getting it ready for paint, as you guys saw in the first couple clips. I've been working on sanding down everything that comes off of the truck. So this is the valance, or valance, however you want to say it, that goes right there underneath the grill. We also have the bedside sitting over here ready to go. We have the hood that's all prepped, and then the front fenders are sitting right over there. You got Jake over here doing bug things. You'll see that in the video.
This video is already out.
Yeah, you'll see that in another video.
Got to give a lot of credit to these dudes. I haven't even touched this truck.
Yeah, we've been
prep. It's all been them. So
we've been hammering on this thing, trying to get it ready to go. But my dad's over here prepping, getting all the window seals taped off, getting all the windows taped off, and then he also got the inside taped off so he can do the door jambs and get all that painted nicely. I have the cab pretty much prepped completely. I scuffed everything with 320 grit sandpaper. I just want to say, we've never really painted a truck before, so we're definitely not experts in this. We're just kind of going off some YouTube videos that we watched and basically just going for it. It doesn't need to be anything crazy because this truck is going to get hammered in the desert as soon as we start driving it, so we don't want like a Ferrari type paint job on this thing. We could take it somewhere and have it painted, but that's going to cost a lot of money, and we've done everything. Exactly, build it yourself. We've done everything on this truck so far on our own, so other than the wiring, but we definitely want to have the satisfaction of doing everything on this truck ourselves, so we're going to be painting it. I do have a couple more things to get off. I need to get this upper piece off that goes right below the windshield. Once we have the windshield masked off, the back of the cab masked off, and we get both sides finished, we're gonna go ahead and get some Bondo, because there is a couple dents in the cab that are hard to see, but there's a couple of them in here that we want to just kind of clean up, and there's a couple spots where the paint is kind of uneven, so we're going to be getting some primer that will level everything out, hopefully, just like some build-up primer, and then once we do that, we'll block sand it. I do have a hole on each side where I mounted the bedsides from that I'm going to need to come back and just spot weld that and then grind it flush. You can see right there is a couple dents in the cab. There's nothing crazy though, so it shouldn't be too bad. Just a little bit of Bondo work and we'll get this thing going good.
So it's been a few days since the last row of clips were filmed for the truck getting prepped, and since then a lot's gotten done. For one, Christian and my dad have gone through and got a bunch of tools for painting the truck.
So what did we get, Christian? Or what did you guys get? Because I didn't go with you. Got a lot of stuff. So we got another respirator. We got 3 paint guns. This one's going to be for the primer because we needed a little bit bigger tip. I don't necessarily like this style of gun, but this was the only one that Harbor Freight had that would accept. I think it's like a 1.7 or 1.8 1.8
nozzle size. 1.8 millimeter right there, nozzle size. So all the other guns we have, this one's for primer, we have one for the base coat, and then one for clear. So
keeping everything separate.
Yeah, keeping everything separate. So we'll use that for primer,
And we have just their normal, just like the normal cheapy spray gun right there. So this will be good for the clear and for the base coat. So 2 of those, 1 of those. We got the degreaser right here.
Good old stuff.
Yep, some degreaser, wax and grease remover.
Is this all from Harbor Freight or Home Depot too?
This stuff is from, I forget what it's called. But this is our primer right here.
Okay.
So it's a high build primer. So we'll be able to put 1 or 2 coats of this, like heavy coats of this on, and be able to sand all the little imperfections and stuff out of it. So
does that have to get mixed with anything, or is it just that?
yeah, that gets mixed with
Like a thinner? Is that what you use?
What do we got? It's hardener. So you mix it with hardener.
Okay.
So you use a little bit of this with that. We'll get all that situated in the gun, and then we'll get ready to spray. But we also got some tack cloths, oil water separator for the gun. So you're not getting a bunch of water up in the lines. Also bought a compressor just to do this.
Dude, that's a good investment right there. We were going off a little dinky one before.
Yeah, we had a little 8-gallon sucker that we were using before.
So that would be like good for like the plasma too, right?
Yeah, be able to use that for the plasma, no problem.
Way better. So why, you said you didn't like this one because of the little tank on the bottom, but you like the one above?
Yeah,
So
the one
why
above,
is that?
because when you're using one like this with the bottle below the gun, if we're trying to shoot the roof and that thing starts to run out, you won't get equal coverage. Like it'll start like spitting out of the gun, whereas the ones that come off the top of the gun,
It'll
it's
always be consistent?
yeah, it's always coming out of the gun until it's completely empty.
Okay, that makes sense. Because how does this work? Is it just like a straw down to the bottom?
Yep.
Okay, and that one's just gravity fed?
Yes.
So that's pretty much everything we've gone and got. We've also,
So far.
well, yeah, Christian's been putting in time getting everything prepped. So this is just the front shroud, I guess you'd call it, that goes in
Yeah.
front of the window.
Originally we had this, it was just sitting on the truck because the way the GPS antenna was wired into there, I couldn't pull everything apart, so we ended up just cutting
Little slit.
Yeah, a little slit right here, right down from where the wire goes through. So we're able to just pick it up, slide the wire out, and then once it's back on the truck, you'll never be able to really tell. So
Yeah, once everything's painted, you're not going to see it, but
no,
it's kind of annoying, but it's all
it
good.
is what it is.
And then over here, we got the bedsides. These are all prepped. And then hood right there. And then I think the fenders. Yeah, high over there.
More, but they're, for the most part, they're done. There's a couple edges that needed to be sanded still, but
So the way the truck's going to get painted is we're going to do the cab first and leave that in there until literally everything's done. We're going to prime it, paint it, and clear it. And then that'll move out, and then we'll put the bedsides and everything else in there once the truck's already done. So that way, we're just keeping everything in one area, and we don't have to be moving a bunch of stuff around. So should we go check out what we were doing under our makeshift Area 51 tent here?
yeah, we've been taping a lot of stuff off, bonding areas, and just getting literally everything ready for paint. So it's really close right now. I think we just blew everything out. We have a couple little spots to tape that have holes in the plastic that rip through, but other than that, we just need to wipe everything down with the degreaser and then get after it.
So over here, you can see we just used the carport, got it up on buckets, just get it a little bit higher for more room. And then this is just like some heavy duty, what do you even call it? Yeah, just
plastic.
Just plastic.
Plastic sheeting is what it's called.
Sheathing?
Sheeting.
Sheeting.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was sheathing.
Sheeting.
So we just got that wrapped up over here and then put like wood in there, rolled it so it's tight and keeps tension in there. So this thing's not flapping onto the truck while it's wet because we don't want anything getting into the paint.
Anybody got time for that?
Yeah, nobody wants to do that. And then we got this big old tarp down below everything just to keep the dirt from coming up and getting on the paint. So we've been pretty strategic about keeping things clean. We still have to cover off the ends, which is what we're going to do next. Now that everything's blown out of here with the blower, we can do that. Oh, would you just look at that?
Just look at it. What the heck is that?
Got the full fort enclosed. Just went up like 15 degrees. What are you doing?
Just degreasing all this stuff.
Getting it ready for paint. This is the last step for primer, yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
Then we got to get the gun set up and then it's go time. You nervous at all?
Nah.
Yeah,
If it screws up, it screws up. Like,
well, it's primer, so it's not as critical,
It is what
but
it is.
it's a good time to learn. Christian's gonna be the one spraying. Neither of us have ever painted a truck, so this is gonna be the first time. So it should be pretty interesting. In terms of filming, I don't know how much I'm realistically gonna be able to film in here because if there's overspray flying everywhere, the camera's not coming in here because I'm not getting overspray on it. But if it's pretty reasonable, then I'll try and get as many shots as I can for you guys. So Christian started spraying the truck and there's just too much overspray to get the camera in here, but check it out. The truck is primed. Christian did the whole truck. How many coats did you do?
One super thick coat.
Just one?
Yeah.
And then now we're sanding it down. Already did this side, got everything nice, smooth, straight. Is there any spots you're gonna have to go back in and correct, or is
No.
it just sanding it down and getting it smooth?
Yeah, using this high build primer was like A1 steak sauce. Like, this stuff is
It's
perfect.
good. And then how much did you go through on just the cab?
Like 3/4 of a gallon.
Yeah, so almost a
3/4.
gallon just on the cab, none of the glass.
I think 1 more gallon of primer and 2 gallons of paint.
Yeah. The gun that I was using for this primer sucked. It was the bottom feed gun, and trying to do this roof, it was just sputting all over the place. It sucked.
Well,
It
it's
was
very inconsistent, isn't it?
Yeah, it was super inconsistent. It wasn't coming out of the gun good. It could have been just a dud gun or something, but it did. I mean, it's cheap, so it doesn't really like.
I mean, it got the job done. It doesn't have to look pretty because you're prepping it anyways. But
Yeah.
if the normal paint guns are like that, it's no good. So
Yeah, no. Hopefully, I think the purple paint guns will be a lot better. I think they'll be a lot better.
purple paint, baby.
Purple paint.
So that's where everything's at in the painting process right now. The rest of the day is just going to be prep, and then tomorrow it'll get sprayed. We're thinking we're going to do 1 or 2 base coats and then a clear coat, and then some sanding in between there. So that's where we're at right now. So we're just going to go to some montage shots and see this thing get painted.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're starting off the morning with some new theories. Got that monster pipeline punch, dude. I haven't opened mine. What's it taste like? Pretty
tastes
good?
like, yeah, it's pretty good.
Pretty punchy pipeline, dude.
It definitely does taste like just
Like fruit punch?
Yeah, fruit punch.
But does it have like that monster like tanginess to it?
No, not really.
All right, well, I'll crack into this thing. But what do we got here? Got a painted freaking truck, dude.
Freshly painted.
Yeah, just pulled it out of here. You saw in those last clips, brought it into the garage. And you can finally see. I was going to do a little walk around in there, but there's just no room in that tent or whatever you want to call that enclosure. But now that we're in here, we can kind of walk through it. So what was the process on painting this? Because Christian painted the whole thing.
Yeah, so first we had to prep the whole thing. The cab already had paint on it, obviously, so we scuffed that down to 320, and then there's a couple spots that needed Bondo, so we took that down to bare paint, or to bare metal, and then put the Bondo on it, cleaned all that up with 320, sprayed it with high-rise primer, and then sanded all that down to 320, and then, what was it, 2 layers of base coat? I think it was 2 layers.
2 full layers of base coat.
2 layers of base, let it sit for like roughly an hour, and then went after it with clear coat and did 1 real light coat of clear coat and then 2 real heavy coats of clear coat. So there's quite a bit of paint on this thing.
Yeah, we got some thickness on it.
Yeah, I way overdid it on all the paint. So
You think so? You think you went too thick? Or?
yeah, especially because when we went to the paint store, they gave us like a little quart of like pre-paint. It's kind of like a sealer that we put over the primer.
It wasn't though. That was literally just normal paint.
Yeah, it was
but
normal paint.
He gave it to us to use because when you prime it and then sand it, there's like just little small grooves that you honestly can't even see.
Yeah.
But yeah, that acts as a sealer and just smooths it out a little bit.
Yeah,
before
we
you do
put
the base
that
coat.
whole quart on the cab and then did 2 layers of base coat on top of that. And I wasn't real. Like, I was just going for it with the base coat.
You've painted a truck, Dad, haven't you?
I think it was like 12.
Helped to paint one about 35 years ago.
Yeah, so you know how it goes. So this is gonna sit in here and just continue to dry in here and cure, but it's painted. So as you can see from those clips, everything on the truck is completely painted and all the glass got moved to the inside of the garage so it can finish curing. So everything's set up here on the small side of the garage. Got the valance pieces, both bedsides, hood, and fenders. A lot of this stuff isn't going to be able to go on for a little bit because it has to finish curing. This stuff can go on just when it dries, but the bedsides and fenders will have to get Line-X from Dallas at Line-X San Diego before those go back on the truck. And then the hood's going to get like a high temp paint, spray paint on the bottom side. Are you happy with it?
Yeah, came out good. There's a couple spots, like everything's gonna need to be wet sanded and buffed, but for the most part it's good. There's a couple runs in the clear just because I wanted to lay it on thicker than thinner. Nothing too crazy though.
So the truck is actually not in here right now. We moved it outside so we can take some thumbnails, but we'll go out there and check it out. And yeah, dude, you gotta get the good thumbnails, dude. Well, here she is, out in all her glory. Christian went through and got the light rack on and some of the bedside mounts back on, so this thing's slowly starting to come back together. Still needs a lot of just like the trim accessories that got taken off, like the mirrors, door handles, and then the little key lock cylinder. So that all needs to go back in once the paint dries a little bit, but right now it's just gonna sit like that. Yeah, we got really purple tin on this thing, so that's gonna have to be done. Christian did do all the door jambs and everything, and that came out really clean. The door panel will block all this, that's why it doesn't come all the way up. It just gets cut right here, but you'll never see any of that anyways, so it doesn't matter. Do we want to do like almost like grip tape or something right there?
Nah.
Just keep it clean, white?
No, there's OBS Solutions makes like a little...
Oh, the metal.
Yeah, it's like a stainless door panel kit, so we might do something like that, but...
Okay, but yeah, this thing needs to get a vacuum. You can see there's a bunch of dry paint in here, but the whole truck needs to be washed and cleaned.
Yeah, it needs
paint
bad.
It's pretty hammered. There's a lot of just paint dust sitting over everything, but not a lot of overspray, so that's good. There's not a whole lot more that we can really talk about when it comes to painting the truck because it's painted now. We've showed you everything. Overall, we used a gallon of that white paint and then just a quart just to act as a sealer over the primer. So a gallon of paint, and then how much clear did we end up using?
It was like
gallon and a quarter?
Gallon and 1 quart.
So we didn't use like a whole lot of paint. We thought we were gonna use 2 gallons of paint.
Yeah, nah, not even close. Because the base lays down fine, but the clear is what brings it all out. So
yeah, that's what makes it really shine and pop. So that's kind of our supplies. What was it, 2 to 1 for paint and reducer?
Paint. Yeah.
And then what is it for? It's 4 to 1 hardener on the clear.
Yes.
Okay, so those are just kind of your base ratios. We're not expert painters, but that's what we ended up using. That's what kind of like the standard, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's what we used on the truck, and it came out really good. But again, this thing's gonna look way better once it's actually buffed and wet sanded. So that's gonna wrap it up for this video. I hope you guys actually got something out of it and learned about painting a vehicle. If you guys like this video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.
Peace.